Hello and welcome to episode 263 of the Paint All the Minis podcast. We put the show together so you have got something to listen to whilst you are sitting at your hobby desk and painting miniatures of any scale, genre or game. You're welcome. Our aim is to have a relaxed and genuine conversation with someone who's as involved in the hobby as you are from any level, from top to bottom, because we've all got our own unique and individual stories. At this point, I'm going to say that I have a little teeny tiny list of bullet points when I'm recording an intro. I don't have a script. But every week, I don't read the bullet point. So the second bullet point reads specifically, our aim is to have relaxed and genuine conversations with people who are involved in our hobby on any level, top to bottom, because we all have our own stories. But I never say that. So that is the bullet point. And I never say that, but then I never actually correct the bullet point, and I just say whatever it is that I say. So there you go. That's an interesting little nugget of extra podcast depth. If this is the first episode that you tuned into, I'm sorry, but I just needed to get that off my chest. The fact that there's been hundreds of episodes that I've just had this bullet point, and I never actually say what's on the bullet point. I always say something else, and what's even worse is I don't even correct it. But anyway, sit at your hobby desk, paint your models, listen to the chat. We really hope that you enjoy the content. I do read that one. One that I read word for word. This week I talked to Matthew from the Bedroom Battlefields podcast about playing games at what we would call non-traditional times. To generalize, I would say that usually when we think of tabletop gaming, we would think of playing during the week at a club night or maybe on a weekend afternoon. I personally play very early AM on a Saturday morning. I start my game at 8 AM at the very latest on a Saturday morning. It's been known to be as early as about 7 AM and to meet up about 6:30 AM. And I don't know why we and Matthew talked about this, but he likes to try to play then too. So we had a chinwag about it, and here are the noises that we made. It's a bit of a tiddler this week, and that won't be the first time that Matthew has heard someone say something like that about him. And the show is quite short, so because it was quite short, I added on an extra long post-ramble specifically about why you should take a look at playing A Song of Ice and Fire. If you are utterly sick of me talking about A Song of Ice and Fire, then just click off at the end as soon as you hear the bass line. But if you haven't tried A Song of Ice and Fire yet, then please give it a listen. And the reason why I've got an extra impetus to wax lyrical about A Song of Ice and Fire is that this week I picked up a bunch of GW dwarves in a trade. I didn't want to pick them up brand new because they're expensive and they're quite old models, and I didn't want to buy any with my actual money for the same reason, even if they were second hand. But I was looking to pass on some board games that I'd played a lot of, and I didn't think I was going to play them anymore. So I put them up, and then someone wanted them, but they said, would I accept anything in trade? So I picked up some Song of Ice and Fire stuff. I also picked up some GW dwarves, and that has given me an extra little bit of pepper on my top lip that made me want to sneeze out some more stuff about A Song of Ice and Fire. So seriously, like listen to it, because I can't believe more people aren't playing it. It is successful and it is a really great game, but I cannot believe that people are not talking about this game on the same level as some other games that people talk about all the time. But anyway, that is enough of the pre-ramble. I don't want to turn this into a pre-ramble waxing lyrical about A Song of Ice and Fire. Taking nothing away from this show, it was amazing to talk to Matthew. Always really great to have a conversation with him. Always really good to spend some time. Always great to find an excuse to chat. He is a genuine, nice guy with lots of interesting insight. And if you're not a listener to the Bedroom Battlefields podcast, then give it a listen, because it is really, really good. And the production value is really, really good. And yeah, he's just a really good all-round chap. Right, that's 50 quid you owe me, Matthew. Enough of the pre-ramble. Let's go.
Paint all the minis. Paint all the minis that you can. And when you paint your minis, listen to that podcast with Dan Adams, that is.
What's happening? We have sort of a problem here. Yeah, you apparently didn't put primer on your latest batch of models you bought. Yeah. See, we're putting primer on all the models now before we paint them. Did you see the memo about this? Yeah, if you could just go ahead and make sure you do that from now on, that would be great. And I'll go ahead and make sure you get another copy of that memo. Okay? Yeah.
So the majority of games that I play will start at about 8 a.m. I think I mentioned this a few times before, like the amount of people that I can play, the list of people that I can play is quite small because I want to play early in the morning. The reason why I want to play early in the morning is because I feel more awake at that point. I feel more alert. But then also I can round up the game probably around lunchtime, and then I can spend the rest of the day with the family. Whereas playing midweek after work, like work does take a lot out of me. Maybe I'm just a bit soft, but the work gets the best of me. So by the time I've got home and seen the family for a couple of hours, like the last thing I want to do really is then go out and play a game. I could do that, but I just don't feel that I would be giving the game my best and getting the best experience out of it. So generally speaking, I'll play Saturday mornings, 7 a.m. Earliest start of that is like 7 a.m. starting playing a game at 7 a.m. Usually around 7:30, all right?
Yeah, I mean, I bet like some people listening will be horrified at that and just couldn't imagine it. But to me, that is the most like appealing and optimal time. Like if I'm always out my bed early. I'm just a morning person by nature, and like I feel really sharp, like the back of 6, 7 o'clock. I get a coffee and like I feel at that point I would really love to play a game, but it's just socially not conducive. I mean, you're managing it, so there are obviously ways which we'll get into, but we hear about like club nights and stuff like that, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. A lot of people playing in the evenings for obvious practical reasons, but it's just never a time that appeals to me. And I know there's the thing about like, I mean, if you take painting for example, and I use this approach myself, like that most nights I really can't be bothered painting, but I know that once open, I just say to myself, okay, let's just put a wash on, let's just get the brushes out. And once you do that, you're like, okay, this is fine. And that works for me, but I don't think it's really the same for gaming. It's a totally different kettle of fish to me. And after a day of work, I just don't think my brain is like, I just can't be bothered with it. So I don't do it, which annoys me in a sense.
Is that an age thing?
No, I don't know. Don't think so.
Is it because I'm an old giffer and I don't want to stay up past that night?
I mean, have you always kind of approached it that way, or like, did you used to play in the evenings?
No, well, I don't know, because when I first started playing in America, it was just the games nights were during the week, and I didn't really think about playing early on weekends or anything like that, really, to be honest. And the only time I could get games was at night. I wouldn't say that I truly enjoyed playing at that time the best. I guess I just didn't really think about it to start off with. It's an interesting one. I think that maybe as gaming as an older adult, maybe if you're a younger adult, you don't mind doing midweek. I just wonder if maybe it's my age and I've got a family now and all that kind of stuff that makes me want to avoid playing. I can't do it. I just don't ever feel like I'm really truly in it as much as I play early on a Saturday morning.
I imagine with your like job and background and stuff like that, you'll be pretty familiar with the concept of decision fatigue.
Yeah. I was trying to explain teaching to somebody a while ago, and they were like, it started off with the usual jibes of, oh, you're never in, or you spend all your time on holiday and you get all these holidays. And I was like, yeah, you do, and they're good, but I genuinely feel that you need them. So I was trying to explain it in terms of project management. That's probably the closest thing that I can create. And so decision fatigue. So imagine that you're a project manager, but instead of running one project, you've probably got 5 individual projects going at one go. So you've got 5 different classes on your dock at any one time, right? And then within those individual projects, everyone's doing the same project in radically different ways. And then you have to give feedback individually to those people that are doing the project in radically different ways at radical different levels and have completely different needs. And also they're not adults. So when you're working with an adult, you can reason with an adult. An adult's got certain levels of motivation, either inherently as an adult or also, you know, you got a motivation of a salary. So you've got 5 different projects getting done by people that don't want to do that project, that have just been told that they're doing that project. And they're all doing the same project in unique ways, and you have to kind of keep all of those plates spinning and all of those things going through your head. So yeah, decision fatigue is real. That's a real thing, and it happens a lot even before gaming. Is that sometimes I'll come home, or even just for a holiday period, and I have to say to my wife, like, she's really, really patient. It's like, honestly, just whatever right now. Like, I cannot make a decision right now. And it's also part of trying to be reflective on who you are as a person. You get a lot of teachers, you probably bumped into teachers, you probably think a lot of teachers are knobheads, right? Because it's like they always have to be in control, they always have to be in charge. It's like I'm trying to be really reflective, and that's not me. So there's times where I've had to, like, with mates or with family or whatever, it's like, listen, I'm not going to make any decisions here. You just tell me how it's going to be, because I'm done. I'm done. Yeah, so for sure.
Yeah, there's a classic example, like a cliched example almost in the self-help world about Steve Jobs with this, and it said, like, he always, what was it, he wore like a black like polo neck and trousers, and I think it was like Homer Simpson's wardrobe, like just the same clothes. And apparently, I don't know how true this was, but apparently his thing was like, if I don't have to decide what to wear in the morning, it's like one less decision. So again, like, I know that's kind of cliched in that, but like, I think there's something in there. You know, the less like minutiae you have to work your way through of a day, you maybe you're able to make key decisions. And I guess, that ties into like playing a game. There's a lot of decisions involved, not just in the game itself, but the preparation, the organisation. There's all that sort of stuff around, what are we playing, why are we playing it? So
yeah, and I think you've got a finite amount of decisions that you can make in any one given day, and I think everyone's different with that. Does that kind of make sense? And sometimes you just don't want it. I think that's maybe why a lot of people just watch TV. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah, it's like you just put the TV on and stare at it, because you don't need to make a decision on that. Like just put it on channel 1. And you don't need to even decide what channel you watch. Just bang it on, mate, and just So I think that's real. Whether we see that on a conscious level, we're conscious of the decision fatigue, or whether it's something that we're subconscious of. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that was bothering me for a long time. That, like, I always felt like maybe Friday night we should be playing something. So, like, you work all week, my wife works all week, we've got a 4-year-old. The week, it goes by in a blur, but it's very hard in certain ways. You're doing a lot, and then you get to Friday, you put her down to her bed, and it's like, do you then, crack a game out, or do you just put a nice Netflix show on and just sit and vegetate? And I always felt bad about myself for doing that. Like, I don't watch TV at all through the week. And I was like, I need to cut myself some slack here. Like, it's just like an hour of telly on a Friday night. Like, I'm sure there's worse things to be doing. So
no, I get that though. Like, I don't have too much friction with my wife. You probably have to ask her the same question to see what she says. But I don't feel any friction too much friction in our relationship, right? But where friction does occur, it's when we both want to play games. She wants to play a game, and I want to play a game, but I don't want to teach her a game. Does that kind of make sense? And not because I don't want to teach her a game. It's like, that's what I'm doing all day. So all I'm doing all day is I'm making decisions for other people. I'm making sure everybody knows what they're doing. I'm checking that they know what they're doing. I'm making sure that they're having a good time. I'm making sure that they're on a good task. And then to come home and to effectively do exactly the same thing, but when it's supposed to be fun, it's not. Does that kind of make sense? So what would be really refreshing, and I've said this to her a few times, like, it'd be amazing if you just learned a game and you taught me, because that will take that decision fatigue out. right? Having to be the person that knows what they're doing, having to be the person that makes the decisions, having to be the person to make sure that you're having a good time. And so she has like certain times, it would be great if it was more, but that's one thing that stops me playing more at home, because we got a bookcase with loads of amazing games on, but we don't play them enough. And that is because of probably decision fatigue, which is the wear from making too many decisions all the time. What are we going to play? What are the rules? What do you need to do next? All that kind of thing. Making the decisions for the party. Yeah. That prevents me from playing more games at home, and especially with little kids as well. Same kind of thing, which makes me feel bad at times, like your Netflix kind of things. It's like, I really wish that I'd play more, but because of the nature of my work, it's just, I need a break from that. Otherwise I just feel like I'm just stuck on repeat for the entire time.
So instead, you're going around the house with a bell at like 5 a.m. Come on, kids, let's get up and play 40k.
best part of the day. Missing out the best part of the day.
Yeah, I find that people who aren't morning people really love it when you tell them the morning's the best part of the day. They really like that. They like to hear it. So, like, go on.
It's just it's different. Everyone's different. What I think people that are night owls or people that are early risers, I think the thing that they like about those things is the same. I think there's a little bit more solitude at those extremities of the day, and there's more space to do whatever you want. It's quieter. You can focus a little bit more. So I don't think there's too much difference between kind of like, the early risers and the late sleepers. Totally. It's just a different end, right?
Yeah, it's two sides of the same coin. I guess what it comes down to, and again, I know I'm maybe making an assumption here that you need someone to play a game with. We of course know that, solo gaming is a big thing, and we could maybe get into that too. But if you're looking for somebody to play a game with, I suppose it depends, like, how likely is it you're going to find somebody late at night versus early in the morning? And the answer might surprise you, I don't know. But I mean, you're talking about playing at 7 a.m. Like, how did that actually come about?
I think the mate who I play with, I'd like him to speak to somebody else about dealing with me, but I'm there, but he doesn't know I'm there. Does that kind of make sense? I'd like him to have a conversation with somebody else, and I'd like to listen, because I guess I came across as really strange, because it's like he wanted to. It was a guy that kind of like I knew. He was in like a group chat, like a hobby group chat on WhatsApp, and I knew kind of him from like pictures that he'd shared. Not those sorts of pictures that he shared of his painted minis and that. And I kind of knew of him. And then someone said that he's moving to my city. So I was like, oh, great. And we like the kind of same games. He talked about Frostgrave before, and he'd spoken about other games that I liked. And so he was like, yeah, we should play. So then I was like, okay, I want to play too, but I only want to play one of these games. So I sent him a list of games. I was like, I only want to play one of these games. And I don't mind playing like more than one, but I want to play a small amount of games a lot. I don't want to helicopter around a bunch of games. It's like, I know what I like. I know what I want to play. And I've already got games that I've not played enough. Right? So that's like, that kept on like, the fact that he continued to want to play with me is amazing. It's like, it's like, I only want to play these games. I want to play these games a lot. And it's like, I only want to play on the weekend, and I want to start at 8 a.m. at the latest. So I kind of which in some ways I think that's good, because I was like very clear. Like, I was very clear, but then equally, I was concerned that he might be taken aback a little bit. But I was just very open, because there's other people that I've tried to play with or play it. It just never aligns. It's like you kind of send your message about what you want, but they either aren't listening or don't care. So they try and change it into something else. There's another few guys that I was trying to play, and it was like, can you come play at this? Oh, another thing was like, I don't want to travel too far to play, because I don't want to be commuting like massive amounts of time. So it was pretty tight stipulations, like, and so I tried to play with a few other people, and it was just too difficult, because it was like, oh, can you come play this part of the city? And it's like, no, it's too far away. And they were like, oh, it's only 40 minutes. I'm like, mate, that's an hour and 20 minutes that I've got to travel, like just a thing. I got my little geek bag on the train, and sit there, and I was like, oh, what you doing? What you got your little war dollies, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I kind of really thought about what would make me game at my best. And I kind of just threw that out there to this guy, and we compromised on a few things. So he was like, I don't mind playing at that time, but would it be okay if sometimes you came to mine and sometimes I go to yours? And I was like, yeah, no problem. That's totally fine. But then he wanted me to play at his house. and it's like, and he had a family and stuff, and I was like, what are your family going to do? And it's like, oh, they'll just be sitting watching TV. So it's like, you had like a dining room and a kind of sofa room, and I thought that might be a bit weird, like, and he had young kids and there's be like grabbing our stuff. So yeah, I think kind of like how that came about is just being really open about what it was that it'd be me gaming at my best, in my opinion, sharing that, and then kind of, you know, trying to find somebody who would bend, you know, to a certain degree. And I'm willing to bend, you know, I'm willing to kind of, you know, compromise or come to agreements on certain things. But yeah, so that's how it came about.
Yeah, that's, I think, like, as you get older, you're more inclined just to be that more direct. And I'm not meaning unpleasant. I'm just saying, like, I think you're just more inclined to say, look, these are the things I prefer, and I'm not really up for that or this. And people generally appreciate it, because I think vagueness or like vague promises or agreements, it just leads to procrastination or just like binning it all together further down the line. That's when people start dropping out, they start not turning up. But it also links back to that decision fatigue that you're talking about. Like, whereas if you're always having to come to an agreement about what it is you're doing, when you're doing it, what time you're doing it, where that those are decisions. Does that kind of make sense? And so it's even before you've started a game, you're having to go through this whole process of that, you know, deciding on stuff. So I wanted to be like, okay, this is what we'll do. It'll be Saturday morning, 8 a.m. at the latest. We'll take it in turns. We'll do like 2 weeks here, 2 weeks at yours, or whatever. We actually agreed to meet at a Starbucks, like a local Starbucks to him. And it was like, when we go up to Starbucks, we'll play more board-based games, like on a smaller table. And then when we come down here, it'll be like tabletop games. But even then it was difficult, because he was like, oh, I've seen this new game. And then I was like, at first I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm being polite. But then it just got to the point where he was like, do you want to go in on this? And like, mate, no. I was like, refer back to note A. I've got games that I want to play, and I want to play the games that I have. And it did take a lot of time. It did take a lot of time to get it. But now it's real easy. There's no decisions to be made. It's like, I'll just fire a message saying, are you off this Saturday? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, what do you want to do? I either say it's my turn to come up to you, or do you want to stay down here? Because the good thing about him coming down here is that I play on campus, and I can get in one of the classrooms. So it's like a complete neutral venue. Got a whole big open space that's just ours for the entire day. There's no one interrupting us or anything like that. But yeah, so just getting into that habit and getting into that rhythm where you're just comfortable, and it makes it easier to play, because you know it. You don't need to make any decisions. Just like, mate, yeah, I'll be down. Good, happy days, and you get it all set up. It's pretty good. What's the general time footprint on your day? Like, not just playing the game, but everything around that, the traveling and everything.
Well, if it's here, I literally just go down on the elevator, and then I'm in. So generally, what'll happen is, if we're going to kick off at 8. I'll go down to the classroom about 7:15. I'll take all my stuff down. I'll set up the battlefield. I'll set up everything, and then he'll come about 7:30, and then he'll be setting up his army while I'm just kind of rolling up the mission. So I've got like 2d6 and roll up the mission, set up the terrain or whatever it is, the deployment zones, and then by the time I've done that, he set his army up, and then we can get going at 8. Tend to try and round it off by between 11 and 12, depending on how the game's going. And what I really like about that is that I'm always concerned about sharing my thoughts, because I'm like, you're just an odd bastard, aren't you? But what I like about finishing at lunchtime is I feel like I've still got a lot of my leisure time ahead of me.
Yeah.
Whereas when I've played in the afternoon, when I play in the middle of the day, it's like I wake up in the morning and I won't really do so much because I'm getting ready to play. And then I'll go and play in the middle of the day. And then when you've finished, it's like you're not got so much of your day left. So I feel like the gaming has taken up all of my day off. So what I like about playing in the morning is that I'm up and I'm out and I'm gone. And then I'll finish. And like I said, it's about lunchtime. I still feel like I've got a whole bunch of my leisure time ahead of me. So that's I feel like I've done more stuff in one day. Whereas and equally, if I'd play in the afternoon, I'm thinking about the game a lot, and so I'm not necessarily enjoying what I'm doing during the day as much, because I'm building up to the game. And then once the game's finished, your leisure time's done. So for me, mentally, playing in the morning is really good because I feel like I'm squeezing more leisure time out of the leisure time. Does that make sense? But I'm totally open to understanding that I might be a bit mad by thinking in that way. It makes sense to me.
No, I completely agree. Like, I'd be totally the same. Yeah, and I mean, I like the thought of having the afternoon, especially like if we're talking weekends, which, you know, for most people, that's when you're going to game, I guess, through the day, certainly. So I like the ability to still go out and do something for most of the afternoon, and not have like that. Again, the game is a positive thing, but I think having it sitting there in the calendar at the end of the day, there's probably certain things you're going to do or not do because you've got that there. But just a long-winded way of saying that I agree and understand.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. You could have gone in a different direction, but equally, it's about what you do during the day. It depends on what your workflow is like. So for me, like playing games midweek during the night, like I could do that, but I don't but that's because of the work. Whereas if I'm on holiday, that loosens up a lot more because it's about playing when you got the energy, playing when you got the motivation, and playing when you feel like you can optimize that game time as opposed to forcing it. And I've never been one for forcing it, to be honest. I think if you're forcing it, like there's encouraging it and doing it. Sometimes when you think, like you were saying before about painting, is that you know quite often you feel like you can't be bothered painting, and I'm the same. But when you start painting it, you're all right. But painting's a lot easier to start and stop, whereas going out and playing requires a more significant investment in time and effort, right? So I don't want to go through the motions. Like that's the key. Like I don't want to force it too much. And there's a difference between encouraging it and getting out there, but then also forcing it. I think there's not really much point in that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, because like I've actually had very little games that I've played in the evening, but in the few that I've had, and this has happened now and then, I've felt like I've mentally checked out, which I then like I'm annoyed at myself for because I'm like, you want to play more, and now that you're playing, you've checked out already. You're kind of clock watching. You're not really like completely engaged in it anymore, so you come away just feeling annoyed with yourself. So again, that's like
going back to the decisions. It's like in a game you have to make a lot of decisions, and you want to feel like you've got the ability to make those decisions, and you want to make those decisions. There's times where I've been playing games and it's been late and I've been tired, and I've not really cared. I've just gone, whatever. And what's the point then? You know, if it's like I don't really care what decision I make because I'm not bothered about the outcome, that's when you definitely shouldn't be playing at whatever time that is, or even playing games at all. Like if you're not really bothered about the decisions that you make, there is no point at all. Yeah.
So with your
go.
I was going to say with your guy, with your man, how many games is sort of in your rotation, given that you had a very specific list?
We started off with a few. Bolt Action, Song of Ice and Fire, that was one. Kill Team was one. There's a few. It's probably 5 to 7 games on the list. And then board games as well, because when we nip up to Starbucks, it's more board game ones. But you already know that's the game that we played the most, because it just kind of clicked. He enjoyed it. And that's pretty much predominantly play. It's just predominantly a Song of Ice and Fire now, nothing else. There's games that keep on, we say, it'd be good to play that, and it'd be good to play that. But because we know it, and again, this maybe links back to decision fatigue. It's like we both know a Song of Ice and Fire now. We know the rules, we know the structure, we know everything. It's like we don't need to invest that energy and time in a new rule set. I think we would eventually if we found that like a Song of Ice and Fire was losing its shine. But there's something about like that familiarity, but also still got room to grow. We're in that kind of call it surfing the wave, where it's like you kind of know it, you know what to expect, you know how it goes, but there's little nuances still because there's different units or different synergies or different factions that you play that keeps it interesting. So it's not like just a formality of exactly what you'll do at certain times, but 90% of the decisions are locked in, or 90% of whatever you're going to do is locked in, and then the 10% is just what you are doing at the tabletop at that time. It's even like getting to know a mission. It's like you're playing missions that you've not played, that you've played before, maybe 3 or 4 times. So that helps you with decision fatigue, because you're not having to waste that kind of mental space thinking about things to make a decision on, like or rules, right? You know, where you got a rule question and you're like, what happens if I roll a 6 here, or you read out a piece on a card and it's like, what does that mean to you? It's like we've already made all those decisions on how we want it to go, like house rule certain things or agreed on certain wording and the rules. So we made those decisions. All we need to do is just live that decision. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, like you're reaping the rewards of sticking with a game, aren't you? Like you're saying, like I think every time you go to the rule book, which is inevitable when you game, but like every time you go there, it's another little decision, it's another little bit of mental energy, and like
how would you read this? How would you read that?
And I know it's a different thing, like sport versus gaming, but like I play football on Monday nights, and if I was going there on a Monday night, like every week, and it was like, okay lads, tonight we're doing lacrosse, this is the lacrosse rules, the next week it's like, so this is basketball, this is how basketball works, and like I know, like I can't play football well, but I know the basic gist of it, so I could just turn up there and do it. Like I'm not thinking about so what way am I kicking, although sometimes I guess somebody watching me might wonder, but
yeah, you're right, and yeah, it's weird. It's not something that I've thought about too much. It's something that I've voiced, obviously, saying to that guy, like, I have these games already, so I don't want to invest any more money. That's a monetary thing, but it's like I kind of know the structure of these games because I've played them before, and I want to play those more. That's kind of like getting rid of a whole bunch of time and effort that you need to put into learn this stuff, like just making a decision, making a judgment on all those things, and it really, really helps. But yeah, man, it's good.
Well, how do you do your, like, again, I know you don't necessarily like start playing loads of new rule systems, but like, do you just learn the rules at the table, or do you do a bit of prep? Like, say you were getting into a new game, like, would you spend a few mornings or evenings just reading the rule book, or like, how would you approach that? Yeah, man.
It's like I wanna make sure that I appreciate the effort that someone else goes to. Like, so if someone wants to play a game with me, I want to appreciate that effort by, doing some homework. I think that's, I think it's polite. I think it's the right thing. And it also does wind me up a little bit if I'm always having to be the steward of the game. So I think I can pay respect to my co-player, and I can thank my co-player by building up my knowledge, by reading a book, reading the rules, not necessarily knowing it like the back of my hand, but having a gist, having a rough idea about what's going on. So like reading the rule book before we meet, yeah, definitely happening. Watching a few battle reports on the game, or like a how to play, definitely doing that. So that when we meet and when we decide to play, it's like we've got a head start on it. I think that it's inefficient and a waste of time if you're just both starting from scratch, learning a rule set. I think it's just a big waste of time, man. Like, honestly, like, unless that's what you're into, or you don't know that you're playing that game before you meet.
Right? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of groundwork you could do away from the table, isn't there? Like, if you're turning up, okay, it's Blood Bowl, like, what kind of dice do we use? Like, if you're just completely starting from scratch, it's just, it's a bad use of everyone's time, isn't it? So
yeah, I would say so. I would say personally, but not that I'm like, you must do that. I'm not like some sort of gaming Gestapo guy that if you haven't done that, you get carted off and in a jail. But I just want to make sure that the time that we spend together is really well spent, and also that research and like getting to know the flow of the game. I see it as work that I have to do anyway. So if I can front load it, it means that I don't have to do it when we meet. We can get having fun faster because I'm not Mr. Hollywood. I'm pretty boring. I don't really do too much during the week anyway. So, or instead of painting for an hour, I'll read a book for an hour. Instead of reading for an hour, I'll read a rule book for an hour, and but also over multiple days, so it kind of goes in. And I won't say like I'll do like a little pop quiz, like 20 questions on Frostgrave, but I'll try and remember. I'll ask myself some questions like, what dice does it use? If I want to attack you, how does that work? Before I open the rule book, and then I'll like to test myself. I'll open the rule book and I'll be like, yeah, I was right, or no, I got that wrong. But again, I'm just labeling myself as a massive massive nerd, I guess.
You've got Joe McCulloch's phone number as well. I could just imagine you. It's like 3 a.m. He's in his bed, and you're like, Joe, we've got a point of contention on page 64.
There's a spelling mistake, Joe. Come on, get a grip.
He's like, it's fine. I'm a night owl. I've got this.
But yeah, are you the same? Are you the same though? Like, would you put in effort and like to set stuff up before you go and play?
Yeah, I'm saying a tentative yes here because we've played a few games together online, and I worry that you think I turn that. It's just that I'm stupid. It's not that I've not prepped.
But you don't mind it. It's like a buddy system, right? It's like I'll teach you that, but then it comes around and you'll teach me this. So Dan, Snowman Dan from the Paint on Minis Discord, like he's really good for this. Is that we'll teach each other stuff. So it'll be like, what do you want to do on Wednesday night? And I'll be like, what have you been playing recently? And he'll say, I've been playing Dice Masters, or I've been playing this. And I was like, oh, great. Could you teach me that? And he's like, yeah, no problem. And then equally, the flip side is he'll say to me, like, would you want to play a game? What do you want to play? And I'm like, I think I'm playing Undaunted. And he's like, oh, great. I've heard of that, but I never played it. Can you teach me? And so when you got that reciprocal agreement and understanding, that's when it's not a problem. But there have been situations where I just feel like I'm just the rules guy, and just go and play with Dan. Like, he'll sort you out. Like, he'll just basically do everything for you apart from roll the dice for you. He'll just say, pick up that D6 and roll it. You're looking for a 4. And they have a great time. But I'm having an okay time, but not the best time, because I just feel like I'm like the dad. I feel like I'm like the games master, whereas I want to feel like it's an equal proposition, you know?
What about, I mean, say somebody's listening and they really they like the idea of playing in the morning, but for one reason or another, it's just not possible, whether it's work or, other reasons. So the only opportunity they're going to have is in the evening, where they really don't feel up to it. Is it all lost, or
live?
Is it
Playing live, yeah. Right? So it's like, if you want to play live and no one wants to play live with you in the morning, then yeah, the only option is the evening. But there's things like Tabletop Simulator. So Tabletop Simulator, that could potentially be something that you do, because you could play someone on a different time zone, for example, because morning in the UK, if you think about someone on maybe the west coast of America, or even just like central time, that'll be their evening. So you might have someone in America that wants to play on an evening, and then you can hook up with them and it's their evening, but it's your morning. That if you're desperate to play in the morning and you don't mind about playing live, that might be an option, right?
Well, let's assume then that they simply can't. Like, they're a heart surgeon and all their operations are 7 days a week at 8 a.m. Like, they just can't. They can't do anything in the morning. But they can get into a local club at like 7 p.m, 8 p.m.
Yeah.
They don't feel up. Like, is it just a case of don't bother, or is there still ways that they could make it enjoyable, do you think?
I think you'd have to have a kick. And I can't talk about everyone else, but if I have a little sleepy when I get home from work, 40 minutes, I think I could go play of a night. So if I got in from work and had a shower and then had a little sleepy, I think I'd be okay playing at night. But with the situation I got my family and that, can't really do that. Can't really come home from work and be like, hi family, I'm going to sleep now. One, they'd be too noisy, but two, that's just like proper antisocial.
Yeah.
And then get up and then be like, bye, I'm going out to play a game.
Daddy's having an affair.
No, just playing war dollies.
You would actually say you were having an affair rather than...
Yeah. My daughters would be like, yeah, okay, I understand, that's acceptable.
That's fine, Dad. Worried for a minute that you were going to play Frostgrave.
But yeah, so the what I would need to do in order for me personally to be cool with playing on an evening is not feasible, right? It'd be unfair, I think, my family for that, right?
Even like if you thought about the games you were playing, so if you picked something pretty quick that you know really well, do you think you could make it enjoyable? Not just bearable, you don't want that, but could you make it enjoyable?
It's just hard with tabletop war games, I think. That's why board games are good, but we'll get onto that in a second. But with tabletop war games, the time that it's likely to take, it's inhibitive, I think. You're looking at 3 hours, realistically, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
And I would say that maybe a short game if I think about all the Song of Ice and Fire games, it's 3 hours. I think you can cut it down if you're really slick, but also you want to experience stuff as well. Like, you don't just want to feel like you're blatting through stuff. Like, like some tournament games that I see, I kind of wonder if they're actually enjoying the moment because they're going too fast through it. It's like just motoring through it. And are you just getting it done to get it done? Are you genuinely actually thinking about what you're doing here? Are you genuinely enjoying the to and fro of the, what should I do next? What could I do next? It kind of seems a little bit too matter of fact. But I guess that just happens when you're kind of unconsciously competent in the game, right? But so you're looking at 3 hours, you know. So let's say you kick off at 7, which is really a realistic start time. It's 10 o'clock, you know, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's a pretty long time, right?
Yeah, and then there's like it must be always on your mind about getting tidied up, getting packed up, you know, getting home, work tomorrow, whatever. So that's just maybe me, but yeah.
But everyone's different on it. Yeah, no, but everyone's different, aren't they? You know, so it's like I've met people, and I don't necessarily want to talk too much about whether you're an introvert or extrovert. I don't think those are definitive, and it's just like a light switch that's either on or off. I don't think you're either fully introvert or fully extrovert. And just because you're introvert, I don't think that means that you just like sitting at home with the lights off, looking at the wall. But I would say that I have more introvert tendencies. And so another reason why I don't like to play at nighttime is that social interaction in any form that it takes, I feel it takes me energy, and if I'm doing that at the end of the day, I've been socially interacting for the all day, and a little bit like decision fatigue. It's like I don't necessarily want to be Mr. Happy, Mr. Chirpy socialization because I've been doing that all day, and it's like I need a little bit of solitude to recharge. So that's part of it too about not wanting to play in the evenings, is that it's not just an energy thing. It's not just a decision fatigue kind of thing or whatever. It's more like I've had enough social interaction today. Now I need the paint table, and that'll recharge me as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, totally. No, it's been interesting. I went into this not exactly. I mean, you've told me this before, but I didn't realise you were such a sort of morning gamer as well. So it's not just me. I'm a aspiring morning gamer. Although I did play last Sunday morning with my wife. I played Blood Bowl on Sunday morning at like 8, and that was good. So I think we'll try and do that. And Callum's coming through for a game in a couple of weeks, which will be good. So it's not like I'm not getting to play, but it's something I've been thinking about recently where, like I say, beating myself up on a Friday night when I've watched Yellowstone instead of playing Kings of War or something like that. So I've only got a couple of minutes left. I just realised the time there, but it's been a good chat. Any kind of closing thoughts?
No, I think that's just, you know, our thoughts on stuff, which is what we generally try to share in it. Just, this is my thoughts, this is your thoughts on those kind of things. And I think, again, we kind of usually throw this in there, like, you know, whatever works for you is great. You know, for me, I want to play at that time, and I want to play these sorts of games, and I want to play with this sort of intent. And I think if you just find a partner that's willing to kind of, you know, do that, and, you know, then it's always a good time. But the negative experiences are when you want something out of it, they want something completely different, and those things are against each other as opposed to aligned, right? So there you go, episode 263, if I am correct, all wrapped up there. Thanks to Matthew for, I can't remember if he arranged it, but thank you for having a conversation with me, Matthew. We had a big list of things that we'd like to talk about together, and we kind of slowly been working through those. And you can tell it was a little bit disjointed. I'm not sure what he did. I think he may have clipped off. No, I think what he likes to do, Matthew is the sausage maker of podcast land, if you didn't know. So So he likes to take 500 grams of pork, and he likes to make 2 kilograms of sausage. So we chatted for a lot longer than that, but he's obviously snipped off some choice cuts at the end to probably make like 3 or 4 episodes of his show, and he's kind of just given me the scrapings and kind of thrown that on the floor, and I've kind of lapped it up like the butcher's dog that I am. But hopefully you enjoyed the conversation. There was some interesting stuff. We talked about decision fatigue there. That's something that I forgot to mention in the intro. We talked about decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is something like legit I won't say suffer from. It's not suffering from. It sounds very poncy, doesn't it? Yeah, decision fatigue. But yeah, at some point I'm just done with using my brain. And obviously, if you're playing a game and you care about the game, you need to make decisions. You need to care about what you're doing. So the time that you play is something that's quite important. So thank you once again to Matthew for organising / being involved in whichever it was in the conversation. We're going to talk again soon, and we're probably going to talk about dietary stuff. Me and Matthew both do different bits and bobs in the background to make sure that we remain largely fit and healthy for our age, and one of the big factors of remaining largely healthy for our age, as we are middle-aged, we are the middle-aged gentlemen. You have to work a little bit harder with your kind of fitness, and a big part of that is diet. I make a lot of I abstain from a lot of things Monday through Friday to keep myself largely fit and healthy. And I keep on saying largely fit and healthy because I ain't got any idea really. I guess you would look at me and think that I'm pretty fit and healthy, but I don't know what's going on the inside, but it feels okay. So we're probably going to talk about that over the next few weeks. So if you have got a set regimen on diet or exercise or anything like that, now is a great time to speak to us about it, because we can add that in to the show that is going to be upcoming. Generally speaking, I'm quite a big fan of intermittent fasting. I'm a big fan of walking, especially walking in a fasted state. And there's a few other different bits and bobs, So if you've got a set regimen, if you just eat McDonald's every single day and you consider yourself to be fairly fit and healthy and active, then let us know about it, because the hard thing with information these days is that you don't really actually know what is genuinely and completely true. And a lot of the things that people are trying to peddle our way tend to be for certain ulterior motives. They're snake oil salesmen that have got something to gain from us believing what it is that they are trying to sell us. So if you've got a set diet regimen that you follow and that works, or you feel that works for you, make sure you email us, paintalltheminis@gmail.com, reach out on the Discord, Blue Sky, or anything like that, because we'd like to know, and we'd like to fill in some extra little gaps that we might have in our knowledge, or some little success stories, or some little funny stories, whatever it is. That would be really good to know. But anyway, right, let the dog see the rabbit. I'm just changing position here so I can be nice and comfortable. So let's talk about A Song of Ice and Fire then. So I picked up some dwarves in a trade, and I've wanted GW dwarves for ages, because I don't really have like a traditional fantasy army, because technically A Song of Ice and Fire is a fantasy world. It's a low fantasy world. It's mostly rooted in like what we would consider to be, our Western medieval culture, right? But it has got, people riding polar bears into battle. It's got magic to a certain degree. It is a fantasy setting, or it's a low fantasy setting, whereas GW is more of a high fantasy setting. So I've wanted GW stuff in terms of a fantasy army for ages, but I've never really been interested in playing the old world, as it's called now. It just kind of, for me personally, and again, I'm not poo-pooing it, if you love the old world, or if you love a certain edition of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, like 9th edition, I know a lot of people play 9th edition, people play 4th and 5th edition, no problem, like not a problem at all. And I'm agreeing with you. I've seen the pictures, I've seen the white dwarves, I've seen all the stuff, and I've really, the GW dwarves, I've been like, I want to get a dwarf army, want to get the GW dwarves, but I've just never wanted to buy them, because for me personally, they're too expensive. And also it's a little bit of a slap around the chops when I know that these dwarf models are quite old, and yet they've been repackaged into this new old world box, and it's like over 100 quid. I think it's 120 quid for like a battalion of dwarves, like Mountain Hold Battalion or whatever it's called. I'm just like, nah man, I'm done. But it came up in a trade, So I got a dwarf cannon and an organ gun, and I got the Mountain Holds battalion box, which has got a couple of gyrocopters, and it's got 2 units of thunderers / quarrelers, and then it's got 2 units of dwarf warriors. When I say units, because they can be bigger or smaller, but about 32 quarrelers / thunderers, which are like musket guys or crossbow guys, and then just the regular schmoes dwarf warriors, right? So it's like effectively 6 units, but I don't know if that works out exactly as 6 units, because you can have bigger ones, right? You can have big units of other guys, like you could have like a unit of 12, unit of 16, and you add more people in, right? So I picked up that, and it's good, and it's really, really good. But what's been really interesting is having painted and played A Song of Ice and Fire predominantly, that's my main game for like 2 years as a minimum. It's been really interesting opening a whole bunch of boxes for that, and a whole bunch of starter boxes for that, and then getting my filthy mitts on this Mountain Holds box. And I just wanted to kind of talk about it. I completely think that there's only me that's still here. It's the metaphorical, I'm the last person in the pub. Everyone else has gone home. There's like a barmaid behind the bar, just like polishing the glasses. Everyone else has gone home, and I'm just like talking to myself. You go, okay, Dan, okay, yeah, time to go home soon. You got 5 minutes and you need to go home. I'm pretty sure it's only me, but that's okay. If there's one person here, if one person stuck around, even if it's because you forgot to press stop, or the your laptop's too far away and you can't be bothered clicking onto something else, welcome. Come and sit next to me, next to the dartboard, and we can kind of go through it. So I just want to go through like just some of the stuff like that. I don't know. It's crazy. So the Mountain Hold starter box, the box is crap, right? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy it. If you want that sort of stuff, go and get it. Like, it's great. But the card that's used for just even the box is like flimsy, crappy cardboard. The cardboard for the Song of Ice and Fire starter armies is really solid, really high quality cardboard. And I keep all those boxes and I store stuff in them. It's really sturdy, strong cardboard that a lot of stuff will sit on top of it. And even that is really, really good. And you can pick up, I checked some prices. So I think it's about 120 quid if you buy this Mountain Holds battalion box. And if you buy a starter box for A Song of Ice and Fire, you can go on Amazon and you can get them. There's a Free Folk one that you can pick up for £55, right? And there's another one you can pick up for £69. So between like 50 to 70 quid, you can pick up a starter box for A Song of Ice and Fire, right? And just comparing those two things, we're not even talking about the game yet. We're just talking about just whether you should pick up box A from a shelf or whether you should pick up a box B from a shelf. The box is better. And I'm not mentioning that because I'm pernickety and pedantic. I'll only buy this game if it's got a certain amount of micron thickness of cardboard. It's not that. It's just that just exemplifies something that's so small that even they're getting that right. They're getting massive, big things right, in my opinion. But even that, the thickness of the cardboard that's used for the boxes is just crazy superior quality. Also, in that Mountain Holds battalion box, you don't get any rules. You just literally get the models. So you get a bunch of models. You don't get any rule books. You don't get any measuring stuff. You don't get any dice. You don't get anything. It's just literally a case of just the models. So if you were to buy this Free Folk starter box that I've seen on Amazon, it's $49.95. So it's even cheaper than what I just said. You can spend 50 quid and you get 4 units. Right, so all of the starter boxes for A Song of Ice and Fire, as far as I'm aware, you come with a minimum of 4 battlefield units. You also get another certain amount of models, which are attachments for your units, that are commanders for your units, or they are NCUs, non-combat units. So you're not just getting a whole bunch of models, you are getting a much fuller and much deeper thing straight out of the box. Okay, so you're not just getting miniatures, you're getting 4 units, you're getting attachments, you're getting movement trays, all of the miniatures, all of them are pre-assembled. Within that, you're also getting custom dice for that faction. So if you're getting Free Folk, you get Free Folk dice. If you buy Brotherhood Without Banners, you're getting Brotherhood Without Banners dice. You are getting every card that you need. You are getting a rule book. You are getting a cardboard faction-specific measuring stick. You are getting everything that you need to play that game as soon as you get the shrink off. And you cannot do that with that mountain hold box. And I'm not criticizing it. I'm not saying it's bad. Like, if you love it, I got it because I wanted it. So I'm speaking as someone who has it. You know, I picked up in trade, but by the way, I got it as well. But just the experience of opening up that box, it's night and day. It's night and day. And I just wonder why people are getting excited or as excited about those battalion boxes from the old world when you can pick up a Song of Ice and Fire boxes that not just has an equivalent amount of models approximately, but they are pre-assembled, which is good and bad. I get that. You have movement trays, which the battalion box does not have. You have to buy those extra. You get custom dice, which you have to spend extra on the other one. You get the rule book, which you have to buy extra for the other one. You get all cardboard terrain that you use on the battlefield free, and you get all the tokens and things like that. It's just looking at the 2 bits and looking at the contents. It's crazy that people aren't screaming from the hilltops about the completely chalk and cheese experience just from the box. And the thickness the thickness of the box. I want to keep the A Song of Ice and Fire boxes because they're really good quality boxes that'll stand the test of time in terms of storage. And that's not even talking about the game. So just there, you know, and I know I'm on my soapbox, and I'm not saying it's this and only this and everything else should be thrown in a skip. I'm not saying that. It's just that having had the experience very recently of opening 2 core starter boxes, I just can't believe that it's even a contest. It's just not a contest whatsoever. Also, as we start talking about, there's a specific model, and I'll put a picture up on this on the Discord server, is that they're kind of the same scale. I think they'd largely be considered to be like 28, like 32 millimeter scale. I put my dwarf cannon together, and I put my dwarf organ gun together, and they're good. Like, don't get me wrong, that's really cool. Like, I really enjoyed painting the dwarf cannon this week. But I put it next to a Night's Watch Scorpion. So a scorpion is like a kind of a big giant crossbow kind of thing, right? That fires big spears. And I go and have a look. Go and have a look and think. I'm not going to tell you, but go and have a think. That's obvious what I might think. Have a think about which model looks cooler and which model looks better. And I really want and I really like dwarves. But if I look at the piddle ass cannon compared to the meaty and chunky scorpion and crew, it's just like pause for thought. And again, that's not even getting into the quality of the game. Like, honestly, just that alone, I think I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna kind of delve into kind of too much deeper. But I just really want to say thank you to Simon and Dark Sword Miniatures for putting the A Song of Ice and Fire game together, and the people that put it together. There was Mike Shinall is one of the main kind of contributors to the Song of Ice and Fire game. Just like, well done everyone, and like, well done you guys. And there's obviously lots of other people that don't get credit. I know that Eric Lang, who's a very prevalent board game designer, was involved in the game very, very early. I know that there's another guy, I think it's Fabio Curie or Fabio Curry, that's kind of this came in. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing that, which I definitely am. But I could easily go on and talk about the game being miles better, or miles better. Again, I want to be wary that I'm not like poo-pooing other games, because there's loads of other games that I really like. I've played a few games of Warhammer Fantasy Battle, but it's never really hooked me in the same way. And there's very few games that have hooked me in the same way. And what I must say is it's not the setting necessarily, and it's not the skin that's on the game. I think if you were to put this game into any other fantasy setting, I still think it would be just as good. It's not the IP that it's not the IB that it's standing and falling on. And I don't know if there's any sort of response to this. Maybe I'll go into more depth and I'll talk about the game and its structure. I will mention one thing: it's on a 4x4, and there's a few people that I've spoken to about tabletop, rank and flank games, and they mention about Song of Ice and Fire on a 4x4 as like it's a super negative thing. Like, I've played loads of games of a Song of Ice and Fire, and the fact that it's on a 4x4 has made no positive or negative difference to the game experience. I've never felt like the size of the table was either a super crazy big positive or a super big negative. I've never felt anything, and I guess that's a massive strength, is that usually it'd be a 6x4, but these guys have managed to create a rank and flank game on a 4x4 that plays really smoothly and really well, in my opinion. So like, I just don't know why like we aren't just going crazy over this, like, and I get it, and I'm not saying people are wrong, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm not saying anything. It's just, it's strange to have had, if I completely detach everything away and I just look at these 2 boxes of stuff that I've opened over the last couple of weeks, and someone was to say to me which is better, it's not a contest. There is no contest whatsoever about which one is better, and it's great. And then the main thing is, this is not a rant. I'm just so happy and I'm so excited about the game, because as I compare it to other stuff, from my perspective, it's just amazing. It's just really, really cool. Down to the thickness of the box, down to the quality of the box, and the fact that you don't just get miniatures, you get everything you need to play an awesome game right there, right then. And especially if you've got a mate who might potentially be interested in playing war games, and there's a lot of barriers. There's a lot of barriers. So again, if I know I've said I was gonna knock it on the head, but I'm still here. I'm still fighting. It's like ding ding. I ain't heard no bell. Like, if you think about the barriers to entry. So if I bought that Mountain Hold box set, if I thought, high fantasy's amazing, and it is. Dwarves are amazing, and they are. And GW models are great, and they are. And I picked up that Mountain Hold Battalion set. I can't pick it up and play it easily. I've got to pick it up, and then I've got to pick up the rule book, and then I've got to pick up some movement trays, then I've got to pick up some dice, and you can get them 10 a penny. But there's so many other things that I've got to do to get it to the table. I just don't think it's accessible. I just don't think it's as accessible as it could be for somebody new. And even if you're not somebody new, I'm not somebody new, but in order for me to have a decent game of the Warhammer the Old World, I have to do loads of stuff over a protracted period of time to get it there. So if it's a great opportunity that if you've got a mate who maybe has shown a little bit of a passing interest in playing tabletop war games, but is always like, but I don't want to put the miniatures together, but I don't have to buy this, and then that, and then that, and then that. This is a great opportunity, because maybe it's his birthday coming up. And if it is his birthday, give me a shout. I'll send you 30 quid, and then you can match it with 30 quid, and we can get him or her a box. And I want to know how it goes, because I just think that it's brilliant. I just think that it was amazingly thought out, and they've thought about everything, or many, many more things. And it's like they really want us They really want us to go and sit next to them on the train. They're like, mate, come and sit next to us on the train. I got a little bacon roll for you. I got a little bit of cup of tea for you. I got a little cushion for your hemorrhoids so you don't then when you sit down. You can sit by the window and you can see the nice view. I just think they're treating us really, really well. And I want to personally, if no one's listening from them, right? And it's only me talking to myself, go back to the pub analogy. But I really want to say thank you to them. And I really want to give them the credit they deserve by saying, just fucking well done. And I really wish that this game gets to as many people as it deserves to, because I think that they've thought about, not necessarily everything, but I thought they've really thought about the value proposition, and I think they've smashed it out the park with their starter boxes. And even if you just talk about the starter box, they've smashed it out the park, and I think they've smashed it out of the park with a rule set. I think they've smashed it out of the park with a living rule book that you can download whenever you want. They smashed it out of the park with all the cards that you use. You're not got your face in a rule book all the time. I think they're just rocking it, killing it, strangling it, just whatever you want to say. I think they're doing an awesome job. But I'll leave it there. And if you want to talk about it some more, or you want to listen to me get on my high horse about it, I mean, I'm not associated with them or whatsoever. I'm not affiliated with them or whatsoever. It's just one of, if not the best tabletop experience that I have ever had, and I've played a freak ton of games and board games. It's just the best overall combined package, cost, quality, care, development. It's just yeah, really, 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 really good. And I encourage you wholeheartedly to give it a go, to the point where, like I said, genuinely, if it's your mate's birthday, give me a shout and I'll fire you 30 dabs. You match it, get your mate a box, get yourself one, and play 5 games. Play 5 games. Paint the minis that are in it, and play 5 games. And I'd love to do a chat. I'd love to do a chat, like not even call it a why I love, because I don't know, but do that, and then let's have a conversation about it, because I'd love to find the contrary stances. I'd really like it. Like if you've tried it but you're just not stuck, or you've experienced stuff and you just not enjoyed it, I genuinely want to talk to you, not to try and convince you, but to listen. To genuinely listen, because I'd really, really be interested in learning about it, because I know that everything's not everything. You know, some people are licorice people and some people don't like licorice. I really, truly get that, but I just wonder about this game. That's what's stopping it, like just being like top of the tree. Because BattleTech is huge. BattleTech is really huge at the moment, right? BattleTech's like really climbed the tree. Star Wars Legion has been really popular for a while. I know that's changed to Atomic Mass now, so I'm not sure if it's as popular as kind of gaming. But it's just, like I said, not even mentioning the IP, like nothing to do with the IP. It's just a really, really, really good tabletop rank and flank game. But anyway, that is enough of the post ramble. If you're still here, whoo, you're probably just like sweating and shaking in the corner after just being bombarded. Actual barrage of just enthusiasm going your way. But anyway, that's enough of the post ramble. No time to talk about what I've been doing. I kind of mentioned it, alluded to it a little bit there. I've been painting some Greyjoy still, but I've also been painting a dwarf cannon and a dwarf organ gun. Go and take a look at that picture that's on the Discord. It'll be in the whip section, and you just take a look at the Scorpion unit and take a look at the dwarf cannon unit, and just like, they're kind of the same scale. They're supposed to be kind of the same scale, like 28 to kind of 38 mil scale. It's just very interesting, and that's from someone who loves the dwarf cannon. I love the dwarf cannon. But anyway, that is enough for the post ramble. Thank you for sticking around, if you did indeed stick around. And I promise this is a one-off. I promise you, it's a one-off. It won't happen again. We've gone home from the pub now, and we've kind of stumbled into the front room and collapsed, and like just pissed ourselves. And then our wife has come down in the morning and gone, "What the heck happened? What's going on here?" And I'm now saying, "I'm sorry, it won't happen again." It won't happen again. I won't do another post ramble like that, ramble like this. But I don't know. Maybe if one person appreciates it, or maybe if one person tries a Song of Ice and Fire based on this post ramble, then it'll be a success. But anyway, until next time we're together, keep painting.